This month, we tell you about how we accidentally ended up playing our fourth wedding. We tell you about how Kitty went to Kentucky and struck gold. We read a bunch of fan mail, and they're the best, and so we got to answer a bunch of them, and no.
Oh, we have to freak out for just a minute, and then we'll be right back to tell you all about it. It's the third episode of Bob's Away!
It happened. We just found out. We are the official theme song of the #1 pro wrestling podcast in the world. That's right, our song, Get the Experience, is now the theme song to the Jim Cornette Experience, and we are super pumped for so many reasons. We love the show, but we also love how it happened. We loved it because we got there being us, and from your support of writing in and commenting and everything like that. Like, we wrote a song that we thought just rocked, and we wanted to play live, and it was an objectively good song. It wasn't silly because, as Corny says, funny don't draw money. And so we did that, and that's us. We did it where Kitty cut awesome rockin' vocals on it, the drums were great, big echoplex vocals, and big nasty bass. That's us. And instead of just kind of hoping that everything would work out, we pressed it on 7-inch vinyl for our fan club, which is like cool, and that's us. And we don't have the biggest fan base in the world, but we have the coolest fan base and friends in the world. And you all wrote in, and that's us, and it happened. It happened.
It's true. The last 7 minutes of the latest episode of the Jim Cornette drive-thru totally confirmed it. They verified that they picked us. We are awesome. We wrote an awesome song. They loved it. They put us over way huge. We appreciate it so much. In all sincerity, we really, really appreciate Brian and Jim. They actually independently both bought copies of our fan club, which is such a class move, I have to say. So classy. I mean, we would have sent them to him for free, but... And Jim even actually bought one of these OG X-Bombers t-shirts, which are available on the website. So that's cool. That's awesome. But it does mean that we are down to less than 10 copies of our fan club. So if you're interested, you got to head to thexbombers.com right away because they're going to run out really soon. That's thexbombers.com 2024 fan club. Speaking of things that make a real racket in Kentucky, we went there last week and we struck gold. Tricks in gold, that is. For the first time in my life, I feel as though I am a professional musician, and it was high time that I picked out a drum set just for me at home to record with. See, for the past 14 years, I've been playing on a kit that's not even mine. And I'm really excited to put new heads on this, to tune it up, and I can't wait for you to hear it on our next recording.
For us, live music is an experience. It's hard to articulate how it feels, but it's a special moment with audience and musician. And we had a couple of those in January. The first was in Springfield, where the entire night felt like we were part of a movie. People were dancing, and it was just one of those things that it felt like the whole night was in this beautiful slow motion. But the one we want to tell you about happened in Thawville, Illinois. In fact, it happened outside of Thawville, Illinois, at a place called Artesia Brewing, which is a family brewery/farm. And we show up and we see a bunch of people in formal wear, and the owner comes up and says, hey, there's a wedding that we threw a reception for. They were going to get married over the summer, but they had to rush it and have a 36-hour planning period to actually have a wedding, so the brewery threw them a reception, which is cool. So we're setting up, and I tell the owner, hey, if this couple wants a first dance, we're so glad to play it for them. And they come back and they say, yeah, that would be great. So we play our favorite love song / slow dance song, In Excess's Never Tear Us Apart. And the happy couple has a slow dance. And we're like, oh, this is great. Then we proceed to play our set afterwards. And, we're kind of expecting people to trickle out, right? They'd been there since noon, but no. They decided that, this night was happening, right? That this was meant to be, that there was a cool band and a cool place and cool people, and we were just going to have a night. So people stuck around and danced, and this is how we ended up playing our fourth wedding. So you never know what's going to happen at an X-Bomber show.
We got a lot of awesome questions this month, and we wanted to answer a couple of them. A few of you even wrote in and asked the same question, which is, what's the deal with the band name origin? And what are some reject names that you had? Which is a great question, and we're going to do a deep dive into that in a future episode. But for now, we're going to answer some shorties. Dakota from Galesburg, Illinois asks, Dear Bombers, if you could perform on any TV show from all time, what would it be?
Dakota, that's a great question.
Great question.
Got us talking right away because we grew up watching bands on TV, which is something that feels like the world's lacking these days.
Yeah.
And we grew up in the era of Saturday Night Live, where the guest would throw to the musical guest, and they would play in front of the fan and they'd rock out. And the coolest thing was that you got to play your radio hit, but then you got to play a deep track too later on in the night. We also like those 60s style shows, the ones that have the interview with it. Top of the Pops is one of them that I always really like.
Yeah, that's cool. They have go-go dancers and platforms. I mean, who doesn't love that?
The absolute coolest. But the one that speaks to us on a profound level is a show called Midnight Special. So cool. This show was on the heyday of network TV, and a band would just come in and just rip out a song, and they'd have 25-foot tall red letters behind them, so it'd spell out the X Bombers behind us as we ripped it out. And there was always a band playing while the credits rolled, and we're like, that's about our spot.
That's what we want. We want the credits rolling as we're playing.
The player baby come back spot.
Yeah.
So that's us.
Greg from the driftless region of Wisconsin asks, Dear Bombers, what sure fantastic cover gets the most interesting reaction from the audience?
Greg, imagine you're hearing this bass line. It's real dancey like this. And the whole bar's into it, And you start scrunching your face. You go what is that? And then at some point you realize we're playing Radiohead's Creep, which is not a song that's danceable, not even a song that they play live anymore. And everybody in the entire audience is going through a gamut of emotions. And Kitty sees all of these from back on the drum throne.
I do. I love to see people's faces when we do this song, because at first it's confusion, confusion washes over you. But then there's usually recognition, oh, I know this song. I love this song. And then,
they feel dirty.
Yeah, they feel a little dirty.
Yeah. But then they look at each other at the table. They're like, you know what? These X Bombers are doing it better than Radiohead. We prefer this version, which would make Tom Thumb's head explode on this, which is great. So great question. There's a lot of twisted covers that we do to get these reactions, but this one, as of late, is
maybe the most twisted. Steve from Chicago, Illinois asks, Dear Bombers, what do you, the X-Bombers, eat on the road? That is a good question. We actually prep a lot of our own food, and we have it down to a science.
We can talk about the pre-show meal here, and we can tell you that with 90% certainty, if you see us play live, we will have eaten a vegetable burrito 2 hours before we start making music. The vegetable burrito is typically peppers, onions, zucchini, broccoli, mushrooms, if the grocery gods have smiled upon us, avocado, and cashew cheese, which is tasty, protein, fat. You're looking for all this stuff in there. And it's always 2 hours before we play. If it's 3 hours, we are so hungry by that third set of music that we're just looking around, looking for stuff to eat.
Yeah, people turn into human pretzels. I start seeing pretzels instead of people.
And if we do it 1 hour, it's too close. We turn into burping monsters because we push off our diaphragm, and it's
you don't want that. You don't want that.
And so, but yeah, vegetarian burrito. 2 hours beforehand, 90% certainty when we're on the road. And speaking of being on the road, we've got some really cool 2024 shows we've got booked that we want to tell you about. Macomb, Springfield, Illinois, and Paducah, all happening in April. And then in May, we're doing our only Milwaukee show of the year. And a couple of cool things in June right now. We've got our first return to St. Louis in about a year and a half in June. And Dayton, Ohio happens on June 21st. Plus, there's 2 radio shows happening in March. But if you're looking for some closer X-Bombers, on February 9th, Friday, we return to Poor Brothers Craft Tap Room in Champaign, Illinois. Grab some friends and a table and have some fun, because this is truly a rad place to catch us play our 3-hour set. No cover and music 7:30 to 10:30. On February 10th, Saturday, we make our debut at Night Shop in Bloomington, Illinois, a venue that comes highly recommended, opening for Rachel Brooke and her full band who's currently on tour. Catch our our frenetic club set at this one, music at 8 p.m. On February 16th, Friday, we return to Skeleton Key Brewing in Woodridge, Illinois, and it includes a hot off-the-presses screen printing pop-up, where for that night only, you can get an exclusive X-Bomber shirt printed right in front of you. Additionally, there is a mashup shirt between us and Skeleton Key, so cool we haven't even seen it yet. Super cool night, super cool event, super cool place. No cover and music is 7:30 to 10:30. On February 17th, Saturday, we return to our beloved Bull Aquarian Brewhouse in Monroe, Wisconsin for Noir Fest. An evening of dark music, dark beer, dark desserts, and other dark delights. Bull Aquarian is such a cool, intimate place to catch us, and we love playing there. It gets our official road trip seal of approval as well. No cover, the League of Erics open it up at 4 p.m. and we play 6:30 to 8:30. On March 2nd, Saturday, we return to Val's Place in Dixon, Illinois. We love this place as everyone is so welcoming and everyone is so welcome there. People dance, have drinks, and connect through music. You just have to experience it. No cover, music starts at 8. On March 4th, Monday, you can hear us live on the airwaves on the West Sessions on 90.1 FM if you're around Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, or WEFT.org as we're on the radio making music and having witty repartee from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's a cool radio broadcast that later ends up on UPTV. And if you want to hear something, write the station and request it, we'll try to play it live for you. Super cool show, give it a listen. And on March 9th, Saturday, we play the Cavetone Records 16-year anniversary spectacular at One City Tap in Chicago, Illinois. That's right, Cavetone is the name on all our vinyl, and this night celebrates their 16th anniversary with every Chicago Cavetone band in one place. We're joined by The Human Trials, Vortis, Paterfilius, and Coco Slider. Music at 8 p.m. and we play at 9:30. This will be such a cool night at this venue. And if you just want to help us keep the wheels on this thing and help out with recording, making videos, and playing all these shows every year, fund our efforts at thexbombers.com. Put a little money in our tip jar or buy a piece of merch. Winter months are tough and your generosity will motivate us greatly to do more things.